Hi folks, Timothy Brown here, President and Chief Executive Officer of Roy Corporation and your host of Profit Practice TV. This is the market wrap for 2014. What happened in the market? And I'll go straight to the facts. The high gross, the practice that sold for the highest amount in relation to its most recent year's gross billings, 164% of gross. That was our company record in 2014. Now I want to mention, we have another practice that was supposed to close in 14, and due to a delay with the landlord, it's likely to close very early in 15. But that practice sold for 196% of gross billings. But it didn't close in 14, so I'm not going to count it as a fact, but I do predict it'll close very soon. Those are very interesting numbers. 164% of gross, 195% of gross. That says a lot about what's going on in the marketplace. The practice that sold for the lowest amount in relation to its gross income sold for 35% of the last year's gross income. That was in a very rural part of Canada, had very high overhead, and had what we call a very low tangible asset backing, which means there was not a lot of valuable equipment or leasehold improvements in there. But look at the range, folks. 164% of gross down to 35. As you can see, there is no standard ratio. There's no rule of thumb. There are averages, there are mediums, but I like to report on the high and the low. The most important variable in valuing any business, including a dental practice, is its cash flow, its net income. And when we say net income, we mean adjusted for non-reoccurring, non-essential practice expenses. The record in the year 2014 in the Roy Corp database, a multiple of net, the high, 396% of net, or almost 4 times net. And remember, I mean adjusted cash flow when I say net. The low net, 35% of net. Again, a very rural, very small practice, not the same as the one that sold for the low gross. So you can see there's a huge range between what a practice can sell for in relation to its gross income and or its adjusted cash flow or net income. There are many appraisal methodologies, and there's a number of different approaches, but there are wide ranges in the marketplace. I'm sure that all the other brokers would support or report very similar ranges, but those are the features for Roy Corp. Let's move on to a little bit more what happened in the marketplace in 2014. The investor dentist phenomenon continues to grow. It's still very vibrant. They still continue to have access to financing. There are more investor dentists in the marketplace in 14 than in the past. And 27% of the practices we sold here at Roy Corporation in 14 went to investor dentists. And that's higher than the year before. And each year that's continuing to grow. I predict in 15 we'll see it even higher, maybe 35% of all practices put on the marketplace through Roy Corporation will be purchased and acquired by investor dentists. And that phenomenon has a long ways to go. I also want to mention that we're just finalizing and tallying the results, but through our traditional dental system, through the qualifying or internationally trained program, and the new National Dental Examining Board Challenge exam, looks like upwards of 940 dentists acquired a dental license in Canada in 2014. So what does that mean to the marketplace? We, as appraisers and brokers, like to measure entry rates, the number of dentists coming into the marketplace and obtaining a license in Canada. And then we have to measure the exit rate. How many dentists have sold a practice, retired? There are a few that decease every year. How many dentists come in and how many go out? Well, we do know that about 940 came in and obtained a license. Most of them are very young, ambitious, they have debts, and they need patients. But we only predict that between our company, all of our competitors, private sellers, family members like owners selling to sons or daughters, associates buying practices, only 400 to 500 practices were sold in Canada in 2014. Now, I can't quite nail that down because my competitors and I don't share all our data, but essentially, we have twice as many coming in as we have going out, which means an oversupply of dentists in Canada. It's been serious for years. It's becoming more severe due to new ability and entry rules for dentists from other nations. This is going to have a dramatic impact on certain practices in certain areas. Demographics will come into play. Oversupply of dentists will come into play. There's a multitude of variables here. Fees, insurance, competition, new practice startups, how the banks will view startups versus existing practice financing. Wow. What I would strongly recommend to the reader today is to please buy the book Profit Practice if you haven't already, where a lot of this is going to be elaborated on by all the respected industry experts. You can find it in your most recent edition of Oral Health and an upcoming edition. Please look for this advertisement in the inside, The Business of Dentistry. Come to this seminar. Much of what has been discussed will be elaborated upon, and this issue of the large number of dentists coming into Canada and how it impacts the new dentist, the recent graduate, the mid-career dentist, and most importantly for the majority of our clients, the exiting dentist. How does this impact your practice? How does it impact value? And there's a multitude of other things to consider. I'm Timothy Brown, President and CEO of Roy Corporation and your host of Profit Practice TV. Certainly hope to see many of you at the Business of Dentistry. All the dates are here, and the website is profitable-practice.com. Thanks for watching.